facial recognition software, in line with artificial intelligence, is being increasingly used by police forces across the world. Now, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Well, did you know in the UK recently it was used at the Notting Hill Carnival? It's a very popular carnival in the UK, known to have a few problems with crime, right? So this year, well, it's been used for a while, but this year it was a bit different. They used Palantir's facial recognition software matched with their AI risk score assessment stuff. Yeah, that's right. Peter Thiel watched you dirty wind at the carnival. Yes, while you were busting it down with a Magnum drink, Peter Thiel with his greasy face was watching you the whole time. Now, what was the result in this? Well, less crime. Yeah, there was less crime. More arrests, but less crime. So that's kind of interesting, right? When you look at the numbers, let's break it down compared to last year's. So last year we had 349 arrests. This year, 528 more arrests. Stabbings last year we had 10. This year we had 4. Deaths, sadly, last year there were 2 deaths at the carnival. This year there was 0 deaths. So as you can see, this software may have saved lives. So that's kind of an interesting view of it, right? One thing to note as well is the police assaults. They've went down a little, but they're roughly the same. I'm surprised by that. I thought police assaults would actually go up because the amount of stop and search measures that were being made during this carnival were higher. And, people don't like being searched and they might assault police officers because of that. But no, it went down. But the thing is about this stop and search measures that were used at Carnival this year, they were kind of different because they used Palantir Gotham, which is a branch of Palantir software that gives risk score assessments based on facial recognition software. So let's say you're walking to the carnival, it goes tracks your face, and then will give you a risk score. If your risk score is high, it will alert the police and then they will pat you down to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So what's also interesting about this year with Palantir's Gotham software is the pre-crime element. Now, this is where it gets a little bit scary. See, there were 100 arrests of people before the carnival even began, or people outside the carnival before they even got to the carnival. Now, this resulted in 11 guns being found and 40 knives being found, and some people were arrested because they just had existing arrest warrants or they were wanted for some reason. It's a little bit scary, right? Now, how does Palantir Gotham work exactly? Well, like I said, it will track your face, and it will then match you to all their data sets, which they have, which the government has gladly given Palantir a lot of data to go off, right? So what they'll do is they'll see your face and they'll match it maybe to wherever they can, crime statistics, the crime reports. They'll probably know your address. They probably have your passport on the system somewhere. But also, they'll match it to your social media accounts. That's where it gets really scary, right? Because if Palantir, you're walking to a carnival or a festival or even a protest, and then the software tracks your face and then matches it to your social media, looks at your social media and then decides that you were a high-risk person, you could find yourself being arrested. Because in the UK especially, we are arresting people based on their social media, based on wrongthink. As you can see, this is quite a big brother kind of thing going on. And it's kind of scary. But at the same time, it might have saved lives. We've had less crime this year. It was a safer carnival. So you can see there's like this balance, right? At what point do we go, that's too much power. That's not enough power. I think this comes into play, especially when there's protests. For example, there's a very big protest coming up. I think it's September 13th. This software has been proven to be a success, and it will be rolled out. It will be rolled out at other events, festivals, or mostly protests. So it will be interesting to see how many people will be arrested before they even enter the protest in the next couple of weeks' time. Especially if they've got Palantir Gotham tracking people's social media for wrongthink, you know? Now, some people might, it's a tricky one because it might create a more peaceful protest, right? If it gets rid of people that are notable figures or people that look like they might be able to, they're going to commit a crime, or even if they bring a weapon to these events, then that's a good thing, right? But where does the buck stop? That's the question, right? Where does the buck stop? Where do we stop it? Am I going to be walking down the street and it might look like I'm carrying a weapon, but I'm not carrying a weapon, but the Palantir software has flagged me as a person carrying a weapon, and then I get jumped on by armed police, or anything can happen. It's kind of, it's a little scary. That's all I'm saying. But for now, it does seem to be proving like a good thing, like it's making the UK safer and carnivals safer, I don't know. What do you think? We have to strike a balance at some point, I suppose. I was going to leave the video there, but then I thought I would add more to it because I think it needs a little bit more explanation of how kind of scary this actually is. See, what we're being sold is better policing, a more productive police force, and a predictive crime element to our police force, which will make our country safer. But what we're actually getting is kind of a gross surveillance system where we're constantly being watched by stuff like Palantir Gotham, and a constant assessment of our moves and our social media presence. It's kind of as a result of China. China have this system, and it's proven to be quite successful in China. And Western nations, Europe, again, the UK, US, they're looking at China with jealousy at this, right? Because China has a far greater control of its populace. It kind of goes back to like this 1800s idea of the panopticon. I think that's what it's called, the panopticon prisons of the UK. See, in the panopticon prisons, they would have this tower in the center of the prison that could view all the prisoners. It could see all the prisoners in the prison. And the result of this would be that the prisoners would believe that they are constantly under surveillance, and they would begin to police themselves. And that's what we're getting today.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
And what is the real risk of this? Well, let's say your government does something that you're not happy with, that the public are not happy with. Let's say they escalate tensions with Iran, or they begin a war with Iran or something. And you decide that you're going to protest this online, or even go to a protest in person. You might be flagged as a risk by this system. And as the government gains more power and maybe even gives you benefits, for example, the government can do stuff like withhold benefits from you based on your risk assessment. So let's say you decide to protest something that you're not happy with, and then you get a high risk score. Who knows, maybe the school dinners that your children get are taken away from you. You know what I mean? This is where it becomes dangerous. I know that's kind of a kind of out there theory, but it's true. So it does seem like this predictive crime system that we're bringing in could make carnivals safer potentially. But what's the end goal? Is it to become a surveillance nanny state, a big brother state, and have all our moves and decisions and social media presence, everything judged by a algorithm? I don't know. It's kind of scary, right? But I just thought I'd add that little bit to the video.